Welcome back to Stu Studio, Conservative Takes on Music. Earlier this week, we had the 2026 Met Gala, and a number of artists and performers showed up at the Met Gala this year, as every year, to show that they really care about something. This year's theme was costume art, and it was to celebrate the Costume Institute and all of its exhibits at the Met, and the dress code was Fashion is Art. Now, this theme is only slightly more entertaining than past themes, which have included Superfine, tailoring black style, like they really called it Superfine. They could have just called it Superfly and everyone would have gotten the same message. Sleeping Beauties, which is reawaking fashion, like old trends. They had In America, the Anthology of Fashion, and In America, the Lexicon of Fashion. Those were two different themes from two different years. But this year, many artists and performers attended for the same reasons they usually do, to get as much attention as possible and to prove that they care about something, even if that something is unclear and also stupid. And I'm not talking about Oppressimus Prime. We're just going to gloss right over that. Let's get into some of the attendees who are musical artists. So Rihanna showed up as what she called a living sculpture. And her outfit, she did kind of look like a bust. I mean, a lot about Rihanna looks like a bust in a couple of ways. So from the waist up, she was just decadent. She had golden wires in her hair, kind of representing some curls, surrounded by a nest of what looked like curtains. And then her dress really just looked like a page out of an I Spy book. Beyonce showed up in a sheer dress with a diamond skeleton on top. She claimed that her outfit was celebrating juicy, curvy, and thin figures. I don't see the connection between her outfit and that statement. I think it looks a lot more like her Dangerously in Love album cover. But some people think that she is foreshadowing her upcoming album because she's done the pop thing. She had a Midwest emo song. She just dabbled in country. But some people think that her next album is going to be rock or even a little more punk because of the skeleton imagery used in those genres. I mean, I really hope that she doesn't. I kind of want her to just fade away and be remembered as a legend of pop. We can just totally forget about Cowboy Carter. We can give her that. Rosé's outfit, I thought was very tasteful. It was almost like a plain black dress with a bird on it, which is supposed to be a reference to Georges Braque's The Birds. But the dress was also a YSL dress, which is known for its heavy use of birds. I don't want to say Yves Saint Laurent because my wife makes fun of me for how I say it. Yves Saint Laurent. But on a cool personal note for her is that she attended her first Met Gala with her friend Anthony Vaccarello. And he is now a co-chair on the hosting committee. So she's just got to watch her friend rise in the industry and follow him from the beginning. Katy Perry showed up. People didn't know that it was her at first because her face was covered in a chrome mirror mask. But then she revealed her face and reminded us that she was once kind of an astronaut and she will never let us forget it. It just looked like a space helmet. She was making some sort of statement about AI with her faceless look and her white gloves that had 6 fingers, which no one noticed at first until she found it necessary to count down on her fingers until she got to the fake one, because no one actually noticed or cared. She also presented a magician tarot card, which represents manifestation, willpower, resourcefulness, and the ability to turn ideas into reality, which I guess you can kind of relate to AI, but it seems like she's making more of a statement about herself. You gotta wonder what kind of high conversations she has with Justin Castro that unfortunately make it into our feeds. Sabrina Carpenter showed up in a dress that was made from actual film clips from the 1954 film Sabrina. I wish that she had used like a more profound movie or like a more obscure movie to send a message, but really she was walking around in a name tag. When she was asked about what she was excited about for the Met Gala, she coyly said, "Oh, the performers, I love the performers." I don't know if that interviewer knew that she was one of the performers that night, but it just seemed like a moment that all humility went out the window. Like, oh, I'm excited for me. Just wait. Once the event started, Sabrina changed into a dress that had the Andy Warhol prints of Marilyn Monroe and James Dean, and she sang House Tour, Espresso, and Please, Please, Please for the audience. I don't know whether to respect her for knowing like she is aware of what people know her for and what's going to get people going, or be a little disappointed that she's showing no versatility as an artist. Until she was joined by Stevie Nicks on stage, at which point she did change into a fringe gold dress. And she and Stevie Nicks performed Landslide together, and after that Stevie Nicks went off on her own and performed Gypsy, Edge of 17, and then was rejoined by Sabrina to sing a duet of Don't Stop, which Vogue for some reason quoted as Don't Stop Thinking About Tomorrow. So someone at Vogue should be fired because they don't know the actual name of the song. Like one of the most iconic rock songs ever. Cardi B walked the red carpet dressed as her melting implants, both breasts and BBL. Or maybe it's a representation of all the half-filled condoms she's utilized over the years. Either way, it was neither aesthetically nor intellectually pleasing. Gracie Abrams wore a gold dress as a reference to Gustav Klimt's artwork. Like everyone knows the golden painting, The Kiss. And I have no criticism of this dress. It was very pretty, very tasteful, great reference to a great artist. It was well done. And I love Gracie Abrams' sort of Midwest emo take on pop music, so it's no surprise that her look didn't disappoint either. Madonna came dressed as both Jack Sparrow and the Black Pearl simultaneously, but actually it was I guess you would call it a reference to the Temptation of St. Anthony, but it's not even really a reference. She just came dressed as one of the people in the painting, wearing a boat on her head and a dark gray net that people carried around her. It doesn't seem like she thought about this outfit very hard. Like the painting is supposed to symbolize the struggle against worldly temptations like lust, but we all know that Madonna does not struggle against that temptation. She gives into it at every possible chance, and she encourages others to. Bad Bunny showed up looking 50 years older than he actually is, using complex like Hollywood-style makeup and prosthetics. So it seems like he took the costume part and like the specifically Hollywood costume part of this dress code very seriously. One quote from the exhibition catalog is, "Perhaps reflecting our fear of having to face our own mortality, the youth-oriented fashion industry has traditionally ignored the aged body." So it's kind of like he was skimming the catalog and like seeing what the Met was presenting, found a quote and stuck to it and just took it way too literally. Because he did not look good. It was not a fashion statement. He looked very uncomfortable. The whole statement is that we get older while fashion ignores it. But no one thinks about Bad Bunny and fashion in the same thought. So maybe he just got curious what he would look like in 50 years and used this opportunity to find out. But overall, I hate the Met Gala. It is a gathering of the elite protesting the elite. They make needless, dumb statements like AOC wearing a dress that says tax the rich when she didn't actually pay the people who made her dress. She didn't pay for her own ticket. She skimped her makeup artist. Any musicians or performers who have ever pretended to be counterculture or fighting the power and attend the Met Gala are contradicting themselves, their beliefs, and really everything that they ever stood for. This event raises millions and millions of dollars for pointless causes from people who complain about real causes that they could have used that so-called charity to pay for. But it's not a charity. It's a virtue signaling showcase with an expensive price tag. This year's Met Gala raised an estimated $42 million for the Metropolitan Museum of Art's Costume Institute. These people complain about things like housing crises, healthcare inequality, climate change, but instead they pay to raise money for a museum that already charges $30 a ticket. Now, admittedly, $30 for a museum in New York is pretty low. Like maybe this event is the only reason that they can charge something like $30 instead of $100 a day. But overall, the Met Gala represents the pure essence of the left. Everything is for show. It's all for the elite, while they complain about the elite not actually doing anything, and instead raising money for costumes. But that's it for now. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you for watching this week's episode of Stu Studio, and remember, Jesus loves you.